because I felt like there was some connection between me and looking at all these historical places, and that's why I also chose this kind of major to become an architecture when I go abroad. It's like I said, I really love places like this, and when I went there, I saw these stairs we had to climb, and we climbed and climbed. It was like never ending. My parents stopped at one point, but me and my brother, we were like, no, we have to climb. And we just wanted to see what the king did in order to protect himself. And it was really interesting because you would know a lot about Sri Lanka, and that rock, it's a beautiful history. So we climbed and climbed, and you get to see the beautiful scenery from the top. And half of the remains are not there now, it's all gone, but when you get to the top, you get to see the beautiful trees and the temple. It's wonderful. You could also see the Adam's Peak from there. And when I went there, I just learned more about my culture, about Sri Lanka and its history. Like, if I didn't go there, I wouldn't have known much about anything about Sri Lanka, and like what type of dresses, what kind of attire they wore, and what kind of things they did. Oh, it was wonderful. They were very knowledgeable. They had a lot of irrigation systems. I was stunned, because nowadays it's more of advanced.
Did you take a guide to explain you everything you're doing?
Actually, I went recently again for the second time, and yes, I did take a guide at that time. But when I went for the first time, I did not have a guide. It was just my dad who explained.
What was so different from going by yourself first time and just the second time taking a guide?
I felt like I learned more about the rock when I went the second time, because he knew more about Sigiriya rock than when I went the first time. And when I went for the first time, I was really small. And I wasn't really interested, but I did find a link with it. But when I went for the second time, it was wonderful, because he explained everything possible. And
what new knowledge you took from him?
The new knowledge is like why they did like certain stuff, and why they created certain irrigation systems, and like they have some beautiful ponds, and why they had few, and where the king used to stay, like the throne, like why it was there, and what he used to do. And I also saw beautiful paintings again.
Will you recommend someone to go there?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Any reason for this?
It's one of the famous tourist attractions, and you get to know more and a lot about Sri Lanka by going to this rock. And it's just not a random rock. It's one of the most important places in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And let's move on to part 3. Right? This is kind of a discussion, and you can just talk, and I'll also interrupt here and there while you're talking, right? Different kinds of tourist attractions that we are going to talk about. What are the most popular tourist attractions in your country?
I would say the beaches, they're really, really popular over here. Not only that, like I mentioned before, we have the rock, and we have so many ancient places, like the temples. I feel like people are, like tourists are more interested in our country, because Sri Lanka is like a paradise. It's a beautiful island. It's the pearl of the Indian Ocean.
Okay, how do the types of tourist attractions that younger people like to visit compare with those that older people like to visit?
I feel like younger people are not very interested. Like older people, they like to see all these ancient places, and they like to see all these historical castles and all these monuments. But younger people, they are more interested in all the leisure activities they can find when they go to see any tourist attractions. I feel like they are more into leisure.
Leisure.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any places like young people like to visit and all people like to visit in your country?
I would say in my country, the younger generation would like to go to the beach and enjoy the waves. We have like it's wonderful, the beaches over here. Whereas the older generation people, they would just like to relax and like to see ancient places.
Do they have particularly separate activities that they can involve in the older people when they visit a place? Are there any activities that specially planned for the older people in this area?
To be frank, I'm not sure about that, but I feel like there are activities like they can go and surf the safari and see all the wild animals.
Okay. Good. So, do you agree that some tourist attractions should be free to visit, free of charge?
In my opinion, I feel like it should not be free because it's something we Sri Lankans treasure, and it's